The Arcane Art of Cultivation, the Path to Immortality. I believe many people have heard of a method of cultivation known as cultivation for immortality. This concept exists within ancient Daoism, Buddhism, and shamanism. Ancient sages once said that a person could attain immortality through specific practices, enabling them to ascend to the heavens. This concept of ascending to heaven exists in Western religions too, particularly in eschatology, where it is said that the faithful will be taken to the heavenly realms through rapture. The New Age theory is also filled with ideas about ascension during the final judgment. However, today we're not delving into Western religions or New Age theories. We're here to talk about the Eastern practices of cultivating immortality. Let me first briefly summarize how ancient Daoists, Buddhists, and shamanists viewed immortality. In South Asia, ancient Buddhism taught that one could cultivate by activating the nadi and the chakras within the body, elevating one's awareness, assisting all beings in escaping the sea of worldly suffering, accruing merit, and ultimately escaping the cycle of human reincarnation and ascending to heaven. In North Asia, ancient shamanism taught that individuals could draw energy from nature or receive wisdom and mystical power from celestial deities. Their spirit could traverse different worlds. They were also expected to help other practitioners understand and utilize the powers of nature and the heavens, becoming spiritual guides. Ultimately, there was a chance they could be chosen by nature and the celestial realms, attaining the immortality of the soul. In East Asia, particularly in China, Daoism placed greater emphasis on immortality and becoming an enlightened being. Ancient Daoists taught that one could draw the purest form of energy from nature, known as true qi or reiki, to cultivate the spirit, eventually achieving longevity. To ascend to heaven, however, one still needed to perform good deeds for others, remain aligned with the way of heaven, and accrue merit. Only then would they be delivered to heaven by celestial beings. These represent the primary Asian beliefs in the East. I'm sure many of you are somewhat familiar with these concepts. If you are attentive, you may notice a common thread in these teachings. Each mentions a few basic elements essential for attaining immortality. The first key element is energy. Daoism and shamanism both mention the need to absorb energy from nature to practice cultivation, enabling the spirit to travel to higher spiritual realms. While Buddhism does not explicitly mention nature energy, it does speak of leading the soul to Pure Land, where one can continue to cultivate enlightenment. Even the Buddha attained immortality under a Bodhi tree, which is a mystical tree said to grow in the Pure Land. In other words, the Buddha also practiced in the sacred space. So here arises a question: where should a cultivator seek natural energy for practice? How can they reach the so-called Pure Land? And how can one absorb such pure, untainted energy? Can one truly receive pure energy through imagination alone? Immortals, Buddhists, and grand shamans did not directly reveal the answer to the public, nor did they record it in any book. None of the classics mention a method of locating natural energy nodes, as they knew that anyone could obtain a copy of the written text. Valuable knowledge resources could easily fall into the hands of those with impure intentions. On the other hand, the more precious a book is, the more likely it is to be monopolized by a select few. Consequently, the secret of cultivation rarely falls into the hands of genuine practitioners. If the method of attaining immortality fell into the hands of a powerful villain, it would undoubtedly spell disaster. This is why so few have achieved immortality or enlightenment over the centuries. Most of those who have attained it received guidance and deliverance from immortals or Buddhas, rather than reaching enlightenment solely on their own. The second key element is the enhancement of self-awareness, enlightenment, and wisdom. This is easy to understand. It is about freeing oneself from worldly desires and gaining knowledge and wisdom from higher realms. Many texts offer guidance on viewing worldly suffering with a detachment, but they rarely detail the specific methods for directly accessing higher realms. How can ordinary people know the thoughts of the way of heaven without a method? how can they communicate with deities? How can they ensure they are truly connecting with the benevolent deities and not malicious spirits in disguise? Without direct access to higher realms, energy, and righteous gods, cultivators cannot attain true insight. Trying to understand texts without first-hand experience prevents one from grasping the full picture of knowledge. Why don't those who have ascended leave instructions for safe access to higher realms? The answer remains the same. Human nature is greedy and not to be trusted. If there were a method to gain knowledge from higher realms, it would surely be monopolized by the powerful. If you doubt this, think about the history. During Tibet's feudal period, Buddhist rulers used human skins and skulls to make ritual objects. In ancient China, every emperor sought to monopolize imperial power and immortality. Or look at the modern world, where high-ranking individuals engage in black magic to make deals with the malevolent forces. All these powerful figures have deep faith in mysticism and close ties to religious leaders, but have they done anything good? Therefore, there's no need for ordinary people to seek the answers to immortality and ascension from books. Those who ascended in history were granted a personal deliverance from deities. The third key element is merit. Merit refers to actions that are beneficial to all beings and significant enough to be recorded in the spiritual realms. Almost all religions encourage practitioners to do good deeds, but what constitutes a truly virtuous act? What defines merit? Does saving an animal bestow merit? It does not. How about saving 1,000 animals? Still, it does not. In the East, there is a proverb: good deeds are not always meritorious, and harsh deeds are not always wrong. This means that benevolent actions don't necessarily bring merit, and harsh actions are not necessarily faults. A bleeding heart may lead to greater social chaos, while decisive justice can establish a true order. Yet, most cultivators fail to understand this concept, let alone practice it. Millions of people practice cultivation, yet human society has become more chaotic rather than better. Why? Because they do not understand what merit truly is or what deities and the way of heaven wish for them to do. They engage in minor acts of kindness, hoping to trade them for the benefits of ascension. This reveals the inherent laziness of human nature. The way of heaven and the deities of the spiritual realms wish for humanity to embody with kindness and severity, restoring order on earth. However, these practitioners are incapable of taking meaningful action. They avoid addressing society's challenges, abandon difficult practices, and retreat into endless fantasies of light and love, hoping to change the world with imagination alone. Question: do such practitioners deserve access to higher realms or the guidance of divine beings? Clearly not. The fourth key element is the deliverance of divine beings. As we discussed earlier, ordinary people cannot attain the secrets of immortality or ascension from books, as written texts are easy to obtain and monopolize. Moreover, humans have a penchant for inserting their own perspective into the original texts, especially those with social influence and authority. This has led to the emergence of various sects, resulting in endless disputes and, in many cases, more wars. Clearly, deities would not make such an error. The secrets of immortality and ascension cannot be entrusted to any specific human leader. When someone holds the authority over cultivation teachings, they attract countless devoted followers, inevitably drawing the scrutiny and the suppression of earthly powers. Such influence also invites forced possession and interference from powerful demons and evil spirits. Furthermore, if a human were to possess the secrets of immortality and access to higher realms, they would be inevitably manipulated by earthly powers, forced to relinquish these secrets. So upon careful examination of ancient texts, you'll notice that those who attain immortality frequently mention encountering a benefactor who guided them, a benefactor who was, in fact, a divine being incarnate. Great shamans had guidance from natural deities, the Buddha received the blessings of the Dharma protectors, and immortals were led by incarnate immortals. These stories consistently demonstrate that the path to immortality requires divine approval from above. This leads to the question, when does an ordinary practitioner receive divine deliverance? Can one summon deities at will? How can one distinguish between a true deity and a malevolent spirit when connecting to the spiritual realm? The answers are, once again, absent from books, for books are inherently imperfect. The fifth essential element is personal effort. This is a significant distinction from Western religions. Eastern beliefs emphasize the individual's potential to become immortal, asserting that one can grow into divine being rather than solely relying on worshiping gods. Eastern beliefs do not deny reverence, respect, and reliance on deities, but they stress that individual effort, enlightenment, virtue, and merit are indispensable, as is divine guidance and assistance. In many Eastern tales, those who attain immortality demonstrate unwavering determination, moving the hearts of deities who then guide them to human deliverer. The aspirants undergo trials, eventually receiving the true knowledge of cultivation. In contrast, those lost in tempered scriptures, lofty philosophies, superficial self-improvement, or New Age fantasies may believe they are advancing, but in the eyes of the deities, they are misguided fools who lack the potential to impress the heavens. These are the 5 essential elements mentioned in Eastern beliefs regarding cultivation: pure natural energy, personal enlightenment, merit that benefits the world, divine deliverance, and individual effort. Yet, we still have not found answers to the 4 turning points for attaining immortality. What sincerity must one possess to make the deities touched and receive deliverance? Where can one find pure natural energy for cultivation? How can one directly perceive the higher realms and gain wisdom? And what does the way of heaven require from us? What actions constitute merit? In ancient times, some texts recorded the stories of immortals ascending to heaven before witness, inspiring future generations. But the complete method was never written down, with only a select few knowing the secret, achieving immortality across the millennia. This was because opportunities for cultivation only arose in specific periods. However, now, a new opportunity has emerged. In the future, I will reveal the reasons behind this. If you are interested in cultivation, make sure to follow my channel. In the next episode, as an apprentice of the immortals, I will reveal these opportunities from the perspective of a cultivator of immortality.